Hello, and welcome to the legendary Brown Note. Today we are taking a look at the UHD version of The Greatest Showman. It's presented in Dolby Atmos, and I will be taking you through what I think are the 5 best sounding scenes. If this is your first time here, take a look at my video on how I rate movies and what the graph on the lower right hand corner represents. Link in the description below. Warning, spoilers ahead. Alright, let's jump in with the first scene. So the first scene from The Greatest Showman comes from the beginning of the movie. And right away you can hear some nice bass notes. The star of this scene, however, is when the crowd starts stomping on the ground. And they'll do it like 6 or 7 times. And it's kind of centered around the 20 to 30 hertz range. And it sounds nice every time they do it. Makes the walls shake. Oh, it's lovely. Now the next part is there's going to be 3 spotlights that turn on. 1, 2, and 3. And that third spotlight, it just hits that much harder, and it's great. So I'd give this scene a 4. That's because the bass from those 6 or 7 hits from the audience, oh, they hit so hard. So this next scene comes at 36:56. That's where the song starts. But the bass comes in right here. So it's consistent, that bass note, throughout this whole song, and it sounds very, very nice. So right there, that's a really cool noise in my room. It sounds like a whooshing of air, and it hits pretty deep, and it hits pretty hard too. So I would give that scene a 2. There was some nice bass throughout that song, and that end where she comes in, flying in, I thought that sounded fantastic as well. Okay, the third scene I want to talk about comes in right here, and it starts off kind of quiet, but the bass from the song kicks in pretty hard. The bass actually comes in at 5720 mark, and it has a nice smooth sound for the first half of the song. So in this scene, the bass kind of picks up a little bit. When we're out here on the streets, there's definitely some infrasonics, like under 20 hertz stuff that starts to creep up. But the real kick is when we go inside. So she actually goes pretty soft here, but as soon as she starts singing again, man, those infrasonics really hit you hard again. Alright, so for this scene, I think I'm going to give it a 4 because of all that infrasonic stuff that's happening outside on the streets, that's happening inside right here, and it's just makes my couch move and shake and walls. It feels amazing. There's a lot of driver movement from my subwoofers. Okay, this next scene starts around 1 hour, 14 minutes, and about 20 seconds, and you hear some flashes going off. They sound pretty good, but as soon as she goes in for the kiss, oh my gosh. Right there, just sends a whole pressure wave through the room. It's a really cool effect. I think because it just kind of takes you by surprise, because the first few flashes were so small, I'd give this scene a 3. Alright, this next scene comes at about 1 hour, 16 and 23 seconds. And it's the fire. And it's pretty cool because you can kind of feel or hear the fire coming from overhead. right there. It feels like, or sounds like there's a lot of creaking wood. When the building collapses, it also gives a nice rumble to the room. Right around the 30 hertz. So right there's definitely a very impactful bass as the building collapses. I'd give this scene a 2 because the Atmos effects overhead were pretty good, and the building collapse sounded pretty good as well. After averaging all the scores, we get a solid 3 out of 5. Since this is the first movie I'm reviewing, it is on the top of the leaderboard. This movie has 2 really standout moments. The first is the stomping of the audience at the beginning of the movie. The other is at the tail end of the song, This Is Me. The amount of bass below 20 hertz during that song made it quite the wild ride. The rest of the songs in this movie are quite solid, but nothing reaching a legendary status. This is the part of the review where I talk about anything not sound related. First things first, I love musicals. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love how music can move a story along. My 2 favorite songs from this movie are A Million Dreams and From Now On. With A Million Dreams, I love how it shows the passage of time from when they were little kids to when they were married. I love the scene where they were dancing on the rooftops. It was shot and choreographed very well. With From Now On, the part where they start dancing and stomping their feet really makes me want to get up and dance with them. It's a great song to wrap up the movie. This movie is pretty uplifting, but it's too bad the real P.T. Barnum wasn't such a hero. Well, this wraps up my review of the UHD version of The Greatest Showman. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back soon to check out new weekly reviews.